Jarrod Schulz's life reads like a dramatic script, one filled with redemption, success, heartbreak, and controversy. To millions of viewers, he was the ambitious and sometimes hot-headed young gun from Storage Wars, a man who seemed to claw his way out of a troubled past and build something meaningful. But behind the reality TV fame was a far more complicated story. Years before television, Jarrod had already faced serious legal trouble, including drug-related arrests and time in state prison. Yet he managed to rebuild his life, find love with Brandi Passante, and create a family and career that many would envy. For a while, it appeared he had successfully rewritten his future. However, success did not erase the past. It only masked unresolved issues. Over time, the pressures of business failures, public scrutiny, and personal struggles began to crack the foundation he had built. His long-term relationship with Brandi eventually ended, and what followed was a series of events that would permanently alter his public image and career. The turning point came during a confrontation in 2021 that led to legal trouble and effectively ended his time on television. This is not just a story about fame gained and lost. It is about patterns, choices, and the difficulty of truly changing oneself. Jarrod's journey raises uncomfortable but important questions. Can people Hebrew, Bet Hebrew, Aleph Hebrew, Mem Hebrew, Tav leave their past behind, or does it resurface when pressure mounts? And what happens when the second chance you fought so hard for begins to slip away? Early trouble. A pattern begins long before television cameras followed his every move. Jarrod Schulz was a young man making decisions that would have lasting consequences. In his early 20s, his life took a sharp turn when he was arrested on January 27, 1997, for possession of methamphetamine. It wasn't his first encounter with trouble, but it was serious enough to put him in front of a judge who had to decide his future. Surprisingly, the court initially showed leniency. Jarrod was given what many would consider a second chance, 2 months in jail followed by probation. It seemed like an opportunity to reset his life, but that opportunity was short-lived. Within just a week of his release, Jarrod found himself back in trouble, this time not only with drugs, but also driving under the influence. The quick relapse into criminal behavior painted a clear picture for the court. The same judge who had offered him leniency now saw a troubling pattern. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was behavior that suggested deeper issues. As a result, Jarrod was sentenced to 16 months in state prison. Unlike local jail, state prison exposed him to far more hardened criminals and a harsher environment. It was a place where survival required toughness, and reflection often came at a cost. For Jarrod, this period became a turning point. Surrounded by individuals who had committed far more serious crimes, he began to confront the reality of where his life could lead if he didn't change. Prison years, a wake-up call. State prison was not just a punishment for Jarrod. It was a harsh education. The environment forced him to face the consequences of his actions in a way that local jail never could. Living among individuals convicted of violent crimes created a constant reminder of what unchecked behavior could become. For the first time, the future he was heading toward felt real and unavoidable. During those 16 months, something shifted. According to those familiar with his experience, Jarrod began to understand that if he continued down the same path, prison would become a permanent part of his life. This realization didn't instantly transform him, but it planted the seed for change. He started to think differently about his choices and what he wanted from life. However, prison also left its mark in less visible ways. The need to survive in a tough environment reinforced aggressive coping mechanisms. Handling conflict with intensity became second nature, something that would later resurface in his life. While he emerged with a determination to do better, the emotional habits formed during that time didn't simply disappear. When Jarrod was released at 21, he faced a difficult reality. He had a felony conviction, limited job prospects, and a reputation that followed him wherever he went. Still, he carried with him a strong desire not to return to prison. That determination became the foundation for his next chapter. But as his story shows, determination alone isn't always enough to overcome deeply ingrained patterns. A second chance, meeting Brandi 2 years after his release, Jarrod began rebuilding his life piece by piece. By 1999, he had secured a job as a sales manager at a carpet cleaning company in Tustin. It wasn't glamorous work, but it represented something important: stability. More importantly, it was during this period that he met Brandi Passante, a woman who would profoundly influence his life. Brandi saw something in Jarrod that many others likely overlooked. She didn't define him by his past mistakes, but instead focused on his potential. Their relationship developed quickly, and it wasn't long before they began building a life together. By 2003, they had their first child, Cameron, followed by their daughter Peyton 2 years later. For Jarrod, Brandi represented more than just a partner. She became a stabilizing force, someone who grounded him and gave him a reason to stay on the right path. Her belief in him added pressure, but it was a constructive kind, one that pushed him to prove he could be better than his past. Still, this period wasn't without its challenges. Jarrod felt the weight of needing to succeed, not just for himself, but for his family. That pressure fueled his ambition, leading him to pursue business opportunities that would eventually bring both success and failure. While he appeared to be moving forward, the internal struggle between who he had been and who he wanted to become remained unresolved. Business success and collapse in the early 2000s. Jarrod tapped into the booming housing market and built a mortgage business. For a time, it seemed like he had achieved the American dream. The business brought financial stability and a sense of accomplishment that validated his efforts to turn his life around. He was no longer defined by his past. He was a businessman, a provider, and a family man. But success built on unstable ground rarely lasts. When the housing market collapsed in the mid-2000s, Jarrod's business crumbled along with it. The financial loss was devastating, but the emotional impact was even greater. It wasn't just about money, it was about identity. He had proven to himself that he could succeed legitimately, and now that proof was gone. The sudden reversal left him struggling to support his family. Bills piled up and uncertainty returned. For someone who had worked so hard to escape his past, this failure felt like a step backward. It raised difficult questions about whether he could truly build something lasting, or if circumstances would always undo his progress. It was during this uncertain time that a suggestion from a family member introduced him to storage auctions. What started as a way to make quick money would eventually change his life in ways he never expected. At the time, though, it was simply a lifeline, a chance to regain some control in a situation that felt increasingly unstable. The breakthrough, Storage Wars Jarrod's entry into storage auctions, eventually led to a life-changing opportunity. When Storage Wars premiered in 2010, He and Brandi were introduced as the young guns, a couple with limited resources but plenty of determination. Their dynamic quickly resonated with viewers. They weren't polished or perfect. They were relatable, often arguing but clearly working together toward a shared goal. The show became a massive success, and with it came fame, financial stability, and new opportunities. Jarrod reportedly earned significant income per episode, and his visibility opened doors that had previously been closed. For someone with a criminal past, this level of public redemption was rare. He had gone from a former inmate to a recognizable television personality. The success also validated his journey. It seemed to confirm that people could change and that second chances could lead to meaningful outcomes. For Jarrod, this was more than just a career. It was proof that he had overcome his past. However, reality television brings its own pressures. Constant filming, public scrutiny, and the need to maintain an image can amplify existing tensions. While the show highlighted his hustle and personality, it also exposed his temper and impulsiveness. These traits, once manageable, became more visible under the spotlight. What appeared to be a success story was, in reality, a fragile balance, one that depended on maintaining both personal relationships and public perception. Business struggles returned despite the financial benefits of television fame. Jarrod and Brandi sought to build something more permanent. They opened now and then second-hand store, hoping it would serve as a stable business beyond the show. At first, it seemed like a logical step, leveraging their popularity to create a lasting enterprise. However, success in reality TV does not always translate to success in business. The couple expanded by opening a second location in Long Beach, but it closed within a year. The original store lasted longer, but eventually shut down in 2016. Both ventures failed despite the exposure from the show. For Jarrod, these closures were more than business setbacks, they were emotional blows. Each failure echoed the collapse of his mortgage business, reinforcing a pattern of instability. The idea of building something lasting continued to slip out of reach. These repeated disappointments likely added to his internal stress. While he still had income from television, that income depended on factors beyond his control. The stores were meant to provide independence, but instead, they became reminders of uncertainty. This period highlighted a recurring theme in Jarrod's life: progress followed by setback. While he continued moving forward, the foundation remained unstable, and the pressure continued to build beneath the surface. The relationship braked, and Jarrod and Brandi's relationship had always been a central part of their story. Their chemistry, both positive and negative, made them compelling to watch. But behind the scenes, the relationship was becoming increasingly strained. By 2018, the couple had quietly separated. Despite this, they continued working together for 2 years, maintaining a professional relationship for the sake of their business and television commitments. To viewers, the shift became noticeable in later seasons. Interactions were tense, and the dynamic that once defined them had changed. Brandi later described herself as essentially a single mother, suggesting that the challenges in their relationship had been ongoing. The separation marked the end of nearly 2 decades together, a significant loss for both of them. For Jarrod, the breakup meant more than losing a partner. It meant losing a stabilizing influence in his life. Brandi had been a key part of his journey, someone who believed in him and helped keep him grounded. Without that support, the cracks in his personal life became more pronounced. The separation also affected their children, who were old enough to understand the situation. The family dynamic shifted, adding another layer of complexity to an already difficult situation. The 2021 incident in April 2021, tensions escalated into a public and legal issue. Jarrod encountered Brandi at a bar in Orange County, where she was with friends. What followed was a confrontation that reportedly became heated and physical. According to reports, Jarrod allegedly pushed Brandi during the argument. Although he denied the accusations, the incident led to a misdemeanor domestic violence charge. Law enforcement became involved and the situation quickly gained public attention. This moment became a turning point. It wasn't just about one incident. It was about how it reflected a pattern of behavior. For someone with Jarrod's history, the situation raised serious concerns about whether he had truly moved past his earlier tendencies. The legal consequences were significant, but the impact on his reputation was even greater. Public perception shifted rapidly, and the narrative of redemption that had defined his career began to unravel. Career fallout following the incident, Jarrod's career took a sharp downturn. Although he appeared briefly in Storage Wars episodes that had been filmed earlier, he was absent from subsequent seasons. The show continued without him, signaling a clear shift. His departure marked the end of a major chapter in his life. Television had provided not only income but also identity. Without it, he lost a platform that had defined him for over a decade. The absence of an official statement from the network didn't change the outcome. The message was evident: his role on the show was over. With that, the public image he had built began to fade, replaced by controversy. Life after television. In the years following his departure from television, Jarrod stepped away from the spotlight. He focused on running Rush Bar and Grill in Lake Forest, a business he had taken over before the incident. The bar became his primary focus and a way to maintain stability. He also entered a new relationship with Rachel Beckman, who has reportedly supported him through his legal challenges. While this marked a new chapter in his personal life, it also added complexity given the circumstances surrounding his previous relationship. Jarrod's life today is far quieter than during his television years. Many customers at his bar are unaware of his past fame, which may be intentional. Public attention now carries a different weight than it once did. Reflection, patterns and consequences. Jarrod Schulz's story is not easily categorized as either a success or a failure. It is a mix of both, shaped by decisions, circumstances, and unresolved patterns. His journey highlights the difficulty of lasting change, especially when early habits are deeply ingrained. While he achieved significant milestones building a family, gaining fame, and creating opportunities, those accomplishments were undermined by recurring challenges. His story raises important questions about personal growth and whether external success truly reflects internal change. Conclusion: a complicated legacy. Jarrod Schulz's life remains a cautionary tale about second chances and the complexity of personal transformation. He demonstrated that it is possible to rebuild after serious mistakes, but his later actions suggest that true change requires more than external success. His story is still unfolding. Whether he finds lasting stability or continues to struggle with the same patterns remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that his journey offers valuable lessons about accountability, resilience, and the importance of addressing deeper issues, not just the surface ones.